In the village of Umudike, there lived a boy who had a big dream. He wanted to be successful, to be rich and make his parents proud. His name was Job, and though he was born into a life of hardship, his eyes held a fire that no poverty could dim. While others saw the village as a place where dreams came to die, Cain saw it as the soil where his would one day grow, stretch and touch the skies. From a young age, Job stood out. He was curious, hardworking, and full of questions. While his peers played under the mango trees, Job would sit beside his father, listening to stories of great men who built their futures from nothing. He believed that greatness didn't depend on where one came from, but on how far one was willing to go. He helped his mother at the market, studied under the dim glow of a kerosene lamp, and saved every kobo he could find. His dream wasn't a mere wish, it was a commitment, and he was ready to do everything to achieve them. When Job completed secondary school, his results were outstanding. His teachers praised him, saying he had the mind of an engineer. But university required money, and Job's family barely had enough for food. Yet, Job didn't use that as an excuse. He made a difficult choice. He packed a small bag, hugged his mother tightly, and boarded an old bus to the city where he believed dreams could be made a reality. The city was tough, and he already started regretting his decision to leave his comfort zone. He had no relatives there, no one to welcome him, just him and his zeal to succeed. He slept at bus stops, offered to carry goods for traders at the market, and took whatever jobs he could find. Some days he ate, some days he didn't, but he had only one goal in his mind, which is to succeed, and until he does that, he is not giving up. Months passed. One afternoon, while helping a phone repairer set up his roadside table, Job struck a conversation with him. The man, impressed by Job's curiosity and willingness to learn, offered to teach him the basics of phone repair. Job watched closely, practiced when he gets an opportunity, and soon became skilled. He began repairing phones, first for free to build trust, then for small fees. Bit by bit, he saved money and eventually bought his own small toolkit. But life is rarely a straight road. Just when things began to look up, Job was robbed. One night, when he was sleeping, a group of men woke him and took everything, including his work tools, his phone, even the shoes on his feet. It felt like the world had collapsed. With nowhere to sleep and no money left, Job wandered through the streets, his dream hanging by a thread. One rainy evening, shivering under a shop canopy, Job met Madame Akir, an elderly bookseller who often closed late. Moved by his politeness and obvious exhaustion, she offered him shelter in the corner of her stall. In return, Job helped her organize her books and clean her stall daily. It was here, among dusty pages and forgotten titles, that Job discovered something new: the power of knowledge. He began to read voraciously. Books on business, technology, character, and biographies of successful people became his new teachers. He learned not just how to work hard, but how to work smart. Inspired and wiser, he resumed his phone repairs and eventually opened a kiosk. His service, honesty, and skill brought in more customers. Slowly but steadily, his fortunes turned. Over the next few years, Job grew his business. He expanded from phone repairs to selling accessories, then into software troubleshooting and mobile tech consultancy. He hired assistants, trained apprentices, and opened a second shop. His name began to spread, not just as a skilled technician, but as a man of integrity. But Job never forgot Umudai. He returned one December, not in a flashy car, but with gifts, scholarships, and plans. He built a modest house for his aging parents, sponsored the education of 10 village children, and opened a small tech center to teach digital skills. The same villagers who once mocked his dreams now celebrated him as a hero. Job's story became a source of inspiration, not just in Umudike, but beyond. His journey was far from over, but he had already achieved what many thought impossible. Not just wealth, but purpose. Not just success, but significance. He proved that sometimes the strongest roots grow in the hardest soil, and the brightest flames rise from the darkest nights. Word of inspiration. Life is not always a straight path. It bends, it breaks, it throws storms without warning. But in the midst of every setback lies the seed of a new beginning. If we have the strength to believe again, you may have failed. You may have trusted the wrong person, lost everything you worked for, or seen your dreams slip through your fingers. You may feel tired, unseen, or unloved. But hear this, you are not done. Every person who has ever achieved something worthwhile has walked through the fire of failure. They've felt fear, doubt, rejection. What separates them is not luck, nor talent. It is their decision to rise again. Not once, not twice, but as many times as it takes. You don't need the perfect background. You don't need a wealthy family or a long list of connections. What you need is a reason, a vision that burns so deeply within you that it pushes you to keep going even when nothing around you makes sense. It starts with a choice, to believe in your worth, to silence the voice that says you're not enough, and to take one small step toward your goal. No step is too small. No progress is too slow. What matters is consistency, honesty, and faith. Keep going. The kind who falls, wipes the dust off, and rises with stronger legs. Let your scars speak of your journey, not your defeat. And if you find none, walk alone until those who belong in your path catch up. Don't shrink to fit into spaces you've outgrown. Grow until your presence demands it. True success isn't just money or applause. It's helping others rise as you climb. You are more powerful than you realize. Every tear you've wiped, every night you refuse to give up. So today, if you're tired, rest. But don't quit if you're doubting. Speak life into yourself. Your story is still being written. That is what hope feels like. Be the kind of person who doesn't just wish, but works. The kind who dares to try again when others have given up. Surround yourself with people who see your light. The right people will come when your heart is ready. Don't beg for love or respect. Read, learn, evolve, stay hungry. Not just for success, but for meaning. It's waking up and knowing you're walking in your purpose. It's turning your story into someone else's survival guide. You carry within you the strength of every mountain you've climbed. That power is real. Use it. If you're discouraged, pause, but don't turn back. Your journey is not over, and one day, the world will read it and say, that is what strength looks like.